Hey everybody, I'm Chris Lethem. This is The Economy and You. Welcome to my show. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about search engine technology. We're going to be talking about what I sort of like to refer to as a sort of a discovery engine. And our special guest today is Kate Yanov from Linkapedia. Welcome to the show, Kate.
Hi everyone. Thanks.
Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I first met George about a year and a half ago at a social event in Chinatown. And he was dressed in a very unique outfit, and that sort of caught my attention. George is the gentleman who started Linkapedia, is also a Buddhist monk.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. But he's also a technology guru or a technology geek.
Yes.
Like so many of us, yes. Okay, so why don't we start off with telling people kind of what Linkapedia is, and kind of then from there what was the sort of the impetus for the technology?
Sure. Linkapedia is a tool that is used in mobile devices and can also be used on a desktop. And basically, it's a knowledge hub for web content. We crawl the entire internet, so you don't have to. And everybody today, is conscious of time and convenience, and so we've created an app that saves you that time.
Well, with millions of pages being added to the internet every single day, it's really hard for us to crawl the internet by ourselves. So thankfully, we have sites like Linkapedia. So now, Linkapedia is a kind of search engine, but it operates off a different paradigm.
Correct.
Maybe you can kind of explain the difference, say, between Google, Yahoo, or Linkapedia.
So we don't like to refer ourselves exactly as a search engine. We're more of a discovery tool. So we're not better than any of the search engines out there. We're just different. We provide a lot of value. Basically, you look for an interest area, surfing, for instance, and you are excited about surfing. You don't know much about it. You want to learn as much as you possibly can.
Yes.
And if you were to go to some of the other search engines, you would basically find a list of results that just say surfing in the results. Our product opens up the world that gives you options to find the history of surfing, to find surfing professionals, surfing tools and gear, all sorts of things. So it gives you that kind of landing point, almost like a GPS, for you to navigate the web.
What I think I like about Linkapedia is that you don't necessarily have to know everything about surfing to look up surfing.
Exactly.
So if you wanted to see different topics that related to surfing, the activity of surfing, the history of surfing, maybe things that are related or correlated to surfing, correlations, things that are loosely correlated, you have the ability to do that. So in other words, it's a discovery engine in the sense that you don't already have to know a lot about the topic that you're trying to research.
Exactly. There's a lot of terms out there. Well, you'll be searching through the internet and you actually don't know the correct word.
Yes.
And so you can find different terminology through making a topic search through Linkapedia.
So because there's a lot of different sort of categories that are synonymous to that topic, that are highly correlated or loosely correlated, and it gives you a chance to sort of drill down to find things, which is, I think, very useful. Now, you're saying, and I wanted to ask you sort of about how George sort of came up with this concept or this idea. So maybe you could share with like the sort of how from the beginnings, what was the impetus of this?
Sure. George Birch is the founder. He's a 76-year-old Buddhist Zen master, and he has been involved with taxonomies for decades. He's a serial entrepreneur. And
that's a big word, taxonomy.
Taxonomy, yes.
Well, I just use that word all the time, yes.
It's basically the organization of things. So if you think about the Dewey Decimal System in a library, that's a taxonomy.
Yeah, that's right.
So George has been involved with huge multi-million-dollar tech exits. He was involved with FedEx when they were trying to set up, basically logistics and how, the business was going to combine and condense data and then organize it. So his background is heavy in tech, and I would be safe to say that he knows a lot more about technology than most younger people these days, just because he's been around for quite a while.
Very cool, very cool. Now, so so then he sort of came up with the concept of using taxonomies as a search tool or a discovery tool, as I like to refer to it. And how long ago did he actually start this platform?
The technology has been around for a little while, but obviously, if you can imagine trying to index the internet, it takes quite a long time.
A couple days anyway. Yes.
And even with our development team, we've been working on it for a few years. We have kind of been flying under the radar in terms of releasing the products because we didn't want to unveil it and have certain areas that weren't actually filled out with a topic level.
Well, there's an expression that says, never show people something that's not completely finished. Don't show things half done.
Right.
And of course, if you're still in the development phase and you're trying to get all those sort of issues resolved and optimizations in place, you don't necessarily want to take it out to the public and show it because then you're more apt to get criticisms than you are going to get support.
Right, and comparisons, and you're vulnerable still because you're trying to explain, you know, the different stage of your build out and the look and feel of it even too.
Now, I think there's a video of that you sent to me of talking a little bit about this.
Yep.
I don't know, Zuri, do we have that video available?
Coffee? Okay.
When you realize you love something, it's all you can think about. And all you want is for that thing to consume your life. And to learn more about it, you go to the only place you know. But it doesn't give you any context at all, just results. So you go here instead, but that's no different. And then your last resort. But in the end, it's all the same. You want to discover as much about your passions as possible, but have no idea where to start. And now you're all out of options. But what if there actually was another option? An option where people share what they know so that everyone can learn more about what they love. An option that organizes that collective information to where you can discover more about your passions. Because to truly discover more about your passions, you need to be able to understand the whole picture and share that with others. And now, that's easier than ever before.
Very awesome. Now, let's kind of then talk about how this got brought to market, or how you're bringing this to market. Now, because, you know, one of the things and the reason I love doing this show is because what I'm trying to do is show other entrepreneurs different ways that they can take their product to market, and by using the example of others who are coming before them.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's a great way to do it too, because sharing is caring.
Yeah, that's right.
So we, in 2013 and 2014, we actually went around to 10 different U.S. cities, and Honolulu being the first since we're based here, and unveiled the product and, you know, walked people through a demo, walked people through different topic level areas, wanted to get their feedback on how the navigation was working, you know, did they get the concept, did they see a value in the product, and so we went around to 10 different cities and basically showed the product and just collected feedback. Since then, we've built up our user base, and it's very interesting. We have an average time of 14 minutes on the site.
Wow.
And it's
that
ever
goes
growing.
to something we call like the sticky factor, like the stickiness of the site.
Exactly. And the number of pages that people are visiting are very high as well. So they're not just visiting one page and staying on that, they're actually diving into the site and checking it out deeper. And with that, we realized we needed to kind of spurt the user acquisition and figure out how to get more and more and more visitors to come through, so we could get more feedback. We did a little bit of user testing through a platform called usertesting.com and got some good feedback there. We also started to reach out to bloggers, because once you reach out to a blogger and can get their buy-in or their use for a product, they have a huge amplification.
Well, the problem with bloggers is they don't have an opinion on anything. Yeah.
True. So we were talking with them on, you know, obviously areas where they're authoritative, like car bloggers, a wine blogger, financial money and debt blogger, and a tennis blogger. and really kind of showing them a way where they could leverage the site to kind of organize their blog. And in exchange, we would help them get new eyeballs to their blog because we would list them as kind of a preferred blogger on the right side of our
somebody
pages.
who's creating new content relevant to a particular topic.
Correct.
Okay, so with your platform, it's not just sort of like a Wikipedia in the sense that you're just giving factual data, but you're also providing data that's timely to a topic as well.
Absolutely. And giving credit to bloggers that do, are experts in their field and their topic area. So we kind of think of ourselves as an unbiased way to search the web. We're not a search engine where there's paid positioning in results. We kind of show everything very laterally, and the user can choose to go and click certain articles based on what they're interested in.
Okay. So now you brought up a very interesting point. Okay, so you don't have advertising on the site?
We don't have paid advertising.
Don't have paid advertising?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to be very interested in hearing about your business model, because clearly you have to have revenue for a business to sustain itself.
Correct.
So when we come back, I want to talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a fairly fascinating, sort of fascinating area, how people come up with creative ideas to fund and to bring in revenue to support their business model.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But let's talk first, when you brought this to market, okay, did you already have an idea of what you were going to do to bring in revenue, or is that something that kind of came as you were working through the site and developing the ideas for the site?
We had preliminary revenue models, designed. There's others that have come up as opportunistic verticals for us. But since the beginning of when we were talking about how to make money, but we're open. We obviously realize there's an opportunity for in-native ad revenue. There's an opportunity for strategic partnerships and offering, our platform as a learning resource and tool for other brands and other products. So there's a few different areas in which we're looking at possibly making revenue.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. I'm Chris Lethem, and this is The Economy and You. And stay tuned for more. Aloha.
Here's the deal. I'm Jay Fidel. I'm the host of Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is the Energy Policy Forum's program on Wednesday. That's how we call Wednesday Energy Wednesday. We call it Energy Wednesday every Wednesday. Are you surprised? Okay, and we try to get guys like Jim Alberts here from Hawaiian Electric who can tell us what's really going on in energy. We want to be informed. It's so important. It's the most important initiative in our state. Clean energy is major, okay? And that's why we cover it on this show. That's the deal. What do you think, Sharon?
I think that's great. That's why we're here every Wednesday from 4 to 5, and we hope you all join us so we can hear people like Jim coming on our show and co-host Ray Starling from Hawaii Energy.
Okay, Jim, you've been here today. You've seen this. You heard what she said. What do you think?
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for people to come together and talk about the issues. Oftentimes, there isn't a good forum to bring these key issues out into the public, and this is a tremendous way to go about it. And the activity of this show is essential to keep talking about energy, because, as you said, it's such an essential part of our lives that we need to pay attention to it, and we need to think about the future.
Okay, Ray, your turn.
Well, this is a special time in the history of Hawaii where we're making some pretty radical changes in the way we use energy and generate energy. And this show is the one place you can count on coming to every Wednesday and hearing something about the latest issues that are on the table, being discussed, that will affect us all going forward. So come join us, and if you have some ideas you want to share with us about energy, give us a call and let us know. We'll put you up here and let you talk for an hour. So come see us.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Jim. It's great to be, from ThinkTech's point of view, it's great to have this show. We love the show. It's our most important show. So come around and listen to us 4 to 5 on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Hi, I'm Chris Lethem. We're back with The Economy and You, and today's guest is Kate Yanov from Linkapedia. Linkapedia is a discovery engine, and as we were talking about, when people start a new enterprise, a new business like this is of course built around something called a taxonomy, or the organization of how you organize content in a meaningful and useful way.
Correct.
Which is, of course, very different than a search engine, which essentially just gives you results of websites based on an algorithm or a criteria that says, okay, this is a good site for, we think this is the best site to show somebody based on what they're searching for. This is actually has sort of helpful components that make it easier to find topics related to what you're looking for to get information. Wikipedia first came out, I don't know what, about 10, 15 years ago, Wikipedia came out, and everybody just thought that was so awesome. And it does serve a very interesting purpose because it does allow people to generate content, because users generate content to help make Wikipedia something. Now, Linkapedia sounds like you're both crawling the internet for content. At the same time, you have people who are blogging or creating new content, which are also bringing into the fore.
Correct.
Yeah. And then something else that you're doing is you're setting up something called strategic partnerships. So now, is this part of your revenue model with the strategic partnerships?
Well, Chris, to kind of divert a little bit,
Okay.
we've created Linkapedia basically as an app because mobile search doesn't work these days. Most people don't pull up Google on their phone or Yahoo or Bing and effectively search on their phone.
Or Siri.
Yeah, or
Yes.
Siri.
Yes.
But they're using apps, on their phones these days. And if there's no app out there that lets you search within and stay within the app. And so we're positioning Linkapedia as kind of a solved problem for phone users having to open web links all the time to conduct a search and an interest level.
So there's an app that you can download for Linkapedia.
There will be. I believe the Android app is out, and I think we're still working on the iOS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have this app with Linkapedia. And now you were talking about, and again, Linkapedia is about the mobile search.
Correct.
Okay, so now I'm doing a mobile search, but you are also saying something which I thought was very interesting, is that you've created an alliance with Merriam-Webster Encyclopedia and Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes.
So please share, because this is very cool.
So Merriam-Webster, historically, everybody knows dictionary is a huge book, thousands of pages. On their website now, you typically go to merriam-webster.com and look up a word, find the definition, and leave. And that's kind of the depth of knowledge that you gain from that search. So we're looking at partnering with Merriam-Webster to give the web visitor a little bit more of a destiny where they can explore and discover more areas of that word that they initially typed into Merriam-Webster. So we're working with Merriam-Webster to kind of finalize, our relationship with them, but looking to act as a resource within their site.
Well, the interesting thing there in Merriam-Webster, of course, and with even a dictionary today, is you've got lots of tools available. You've got the dictionary to look up a word, but you also have a thesaurus to help find words that are like that word. You also have the ability to look up antonyms, or words that mean the opposite.
Correct.
Okay, because if you're somebody like me that likes to use irony, I like to find that word that means just the opposite and then use it as the word. There's also timeliness of words, because today, we seem to be very creative with words today. And we seem to communicate. There's this sort of interesting thing that, yes, people say, well, we're losing our communication skills. Yet we're typing and we're texting and we're doing all this stuff, and we're glued to our phones.
Right.
So it seems like we're communicating more, but with less quality. The quality of the conversation isn't as good.
Yeah.
So, will Linkapedia be a tool that will help us in communicating or conveying ideas? Do people see it, or is there sort of a vision that would it be used that way?
I believe so. I think we never stop learning, as humans. And the more that we feel that we can contribute to conversations amongst our peers or friends or family, that provides a self-value. And so I think Linkapedia acts as a tool that you can use to become an expert in any one area. You mentioned kind of latest trends in words. One of the words that we used just to kind of type into the site was jukin. And jukin is a term for a type of dance, and it's kind of like a hip-hop dance.
Oh, really?
And so we were curious, does jukin show up in Linkapedia? And we typed it in, and actually it gives all of these different results for jukin, the legacy of jukin, different jukin dancers, jukin songs. And so it's amazing how it kind of opens up a new world for you, when you hear a slang kind of word like that.
And it's a kind of dance.
Yeah, it's a kind of like
I haven't heard of it. Has anybody else heard of this word, jukin? I've never heard of this word. So yeah, interesting. Okay. Now, because it seems like our language is changing. I mean, and of course the thing about English isn't just spoken in the United States. It's spoken in parts of Africa. It's spoken in, of course, in other countries as a second language. It's the language of trade. And people keep, from different parts of the world, keep adding to the English language. Now, so one of my questions, though, would be, is Linkapedia only going to be in English, or is Linkapedia also, is there an idea that it might transcend just English and move into other languages as well?
Interesting that you asked about that. We're working on translating within the site. And Louis Vuitton to somebody in Egypt may not sound the same or mean the same as somebody in the U.S. in New York City. And so we're working on that translation where people in all parts of the world can use Linkapedia and link up basically on their the mutual topic or hobby area that they're interested in.
Yeah, because I know there's a word like git. When we say get, it means like go away.
Right.
But if you're in the UK and you use the word git, it means like, it's like a derogatory term about somebody, right? So I guess there's context with words as well and ideas. So that's part of, I guess, the interesting thing that Linkapedia will probably give people the ability to access or understand. So now that you've got this up, do you have other ideas for things where you plan to take this platform from here and where you want to go in the future?
Well, we're definitely interested in aligning and partnering with bloggers. We feel that bloggers are kind of not an underserved, but more or less a hidden resource in search engine results. It takes a lot of pages and content and specific keyword matrix building for them to get ranked and show up as an authoritative figure for a certain area, like
on a topic.
On cars or wine. And so we would like to partner with more bloggers to kind of help them organize the previous articles that they've written, because they've got a lot of good archived content that people may or may not.
So here's an example where you've got bloggers and you've got, I guess these are different. Are these blogs?
Yeah, these are different bloggers in all parts of the world, which is phenomenal. Actually, we'll bring up Libyan bloggers.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, it's not just limited to the United States, but it's essentially helping people find an interest or a topic, and then sort of exploring that. Now, this has got to be great. Now, if I were a kid in high school today, and I had to write a paper, I don't want to say it's like cheating, but the ability to, for the first time in the history of humanity, we have access to more information than we can consume.
There's a lot of noise.
There's a lot of noise. And then the question is, how do you find information that's useful versus information that's not so useful?
Right.
And this has got to be one of the big challenges. I know Google has worked very hard to set up different types of filters, the Panda filter, the Farm filter, on and on. They try to figure out ways to find the best content. Now, I would imagine it does take a great deal of knowledge to be able to write software that does this. Essentially, it's all built in programmatically, because as you said, you're scraping the internet for content. and then trying to find, again, you're trying to do the same thing in such that you're trying to find the best content.
In the right context.
In the right, yes, and that's the difference.
Right.
Giving it context as opposed to not giving it context. And that seems to be what Linkapedia is attempting or is working to accomplish.
Absolutely. You know, if I was a high school student and I had to write a paper and I had to look up the, valid resources in the search engine, I would go nuts because you have to dig, 5, 7, 13 pages sometimes to find the right context for what you're actually searching for. So Linkapedia offers a really quick solution. If you were interested in architecture and medieval architecture, you could, enter that into our product and basically find, 15 different resources that talk about medieval architecture. You could have a blogger that's actually, that's all that they focus on. And
I got to meet the guy that writes about medieval architecture.
I bet he would be really cool.
I bet he's fun at dinner parties.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that where the search engines run short is that you get, say, a page or two of information when you put in a term.
Right.
But then it doesn't give you options. It just gives you those 2 or 3 pages of useful information. Usually beyond that, the what you get in the way of content starts to go off in all kinds of directions. So it's just sort of like becomes less usable. What I see with Linkapedia is that it becomes, you're given all these terms and variants on a term, which allows you a better opportunity to find the information that you're looking for more quickly, because it gives you that and it gives you the context. So I really appreciate the thought that went behind Linkapedia. And I hope more people discover it and will try it. And because I think once people start to use it, and it feels like there's a little bit of a learning curve with it. It takes a little work to get familiar with the way that it works. Kind of like Twitter. One of the big things about Twitter is it's kind of hard to use in the beginning.
And you get cut off at 140 characters.
That's right.
You're like, I was writing a whole story, and then what happened?
Yeah, you got to send out multiple tweets. So this is where you are now, and then you have sort of a big. One of the things with a lot of startups is they have a big problem they're trying to solve.
Right.
They're all trying to solve some huge problem, and I want to talk about that with you when we come back. I want to talk about the big problem that you're working on, because I think this is where dreams are made. This is where inspiration comes from. So we're going to take another commercial break. I'm Chris Lethem. This is The Economy and You. Stay tuned, and we're going to talk about the big problem that Linkapedia is solving. Aloha.
Hi, my name is Cindy Matsuki, and I host High Growth with HTDC, where we talk about all things tech, innovation, entrepreneurship, and manufacturing, because there are tons of things that are happening in Hawaii in those fields, and we like to share them with you because more people should know about them. The show broadcasts live every other Tuesday at 3 o'clock on ThinkTech Hawaii, and tune in, and we'll see you then. Thank you.
Aloha, this is Reg Baker, and I am the host of Business in Hawaii. We talk about positive stories of businesses in Hawaii, how they have been successful, and how they have overcome some of the obstacles that a lot of us encounter when we try to have a business here. And believe it or not, there are a number of positive stories here, and we want to talk to all of you. So we broadcast live every Thursday at 2 o'clock, and it rebroadcasts again on Olelo Channel 54. So I sure hope to see you next time. Please tune in on Thursdays at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay, we're live. We're back. I'm Chris Lethem. This is The Economy and You. Today's guest is Kate Yanov from Linkapedia. Linkapedia is a discovery tool, a mobile discovery tool, so a discovery engine. Can I call it a discovery engine?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a discovery engine for finding useful content, especially if you're a researcher. If you're somebody that needs to write a paper, if you're in high school or junior high and you need to write a paper, you might want to check out Linkapedia. I think you'll find it a very useful resource. But now I want to talk about, when we left, we're going to talk about the big problem that you all have decided to take on. and it has to do with refugees. So please tell us about this big problem that you're working on.
Well, even taking a step back from the refugees, Chris.
Okay.
Mobile search is broken. There is
Who broke it? Who did that?
It never became a very useful way to look at and find and search for things on a little
I'm
2.5
so
by
upset to
4
hear
inch.
that. Somebody broke it. Okay, mobile search is broke. Yeah, because you're right. It's a phone. It's small. I don't get a lot of a lot of choices or options.
And when you do search for something on your small device, you have to open up endless pages to find it.
And you have to wait.
And you have
oh
to
my
wait.
God, you have to wait.
And you
Yes.
waste data, and you wait for the page to load, and you wait for the information, and then you find that, wait, that's not even the right context of information that I
Or I'm doing this for 20 minutes. I'm sitting there going like this, trying to find what I'm looking for, trying to move up the, so it is challenging.
So Linkapedia has provided a solution for mobile search users in a very easy, picture-driven, flipboard-style format.
Okay.
And aside from just typing in a search term, you can type in a topic area, you can type in your favorite hobby, something you're interested in discovering, and it will open up basically a whole latitude of options for you.
Okay.
And within the app, not opening up new browser windows.
You mean like medieval architecture?
Correct. Yes.
Because we're all interested in that. We all love medieval architecture. Okay, go ahead.
So we realized early on that the future is moving towards mobile. At any given time, you can stand in a group of people and 8 out of 10 will have their phone in their hand. They'll be talking on their phone. They'll be looking at it, not actually having eye contact with anybody around them. But
yes.
It's a growing trend, and I don't think it's going to slow down. I think it's just going to go even faster.
Well, if we have a way that we can use 2 phones at the same time, I imagine that's coming. So all right, but tell us about the problem that you're working on with populations that don't have access to the internet, or.
Absolutely. So with mobile being a growing area, we realized that it's also a very powerful tool where there's a lot of stories and examples recently. Malala is one of them. I'm not sure if people know about them.
Tell us what Malala is. Maybe this will give people some context about Malala.
Malala is a young woman, I believe, I might get this wrong, but I believe she's from around Syria area. And she was basically learning from a mobile device.
Malala, this is the girl from Afghanistan.
Yes.
Yes, and she was shot.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, and she was shot. And she is all about empowering young women to become educated, to study, because in Afghanistan they're not allowed.
Correct.
Under this sort of very fundamentalist Islam, they don't feel like girls need to learn anything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So she's using a mobile device and using it to learn as much as she possibly can and educate herself. And so in areas where there may not be schools, or schools might be, not permitted.
Or inaccessible.
Right. In a lot of rural areas, there's 1 billion children out there that don't have access to a school. So using Linkapedia as a tool, we're looking at partnering with some organizations to provide a mobile phone and have Linkapedia loaded on there as an app, and a starting point for them to start to learn anything and everything. It's not going to be restricted. It's basically, similar like other foreigners have learned how to speak English off of YouTube.
That's right. Well, and the nice thing is because you provide imagery as well,
Correct.
You're not necessarily completely dependent on having a vast understanding of the English language. Sometimes you can acquire an understanding through imagery.
Right.
And because you provide that, that's also helpful. And the imagery also helps with learning the words, because now you've got something to associate. So in just as a tool to learn English.
Correct.
So that's awesome. And so now this project, working with the kids that don't have access, are you looking for a partner to provide hardware so that these kids can have access to tablets or mobile devices so they can use those as a learning aid?
We would love to find a partner. We're thinking of doing a crowdfunding campaign shortly that would kind of raise money for the electronics. But if there was a partner that would be willing to align with us too, that would be even more fabulous.
Well, Amazon, I think, would be a great partner for you folks. So I think Amazon, if you're out there, anybody from Amazon is listening, I would like you to contact the folks from Linkapedia, because they have Amazon has just released a new tablet that's $50. You buy it in 6-pack. So it comes out to about $50 each.
Cool.
And so it's a very inexpensive tablet. And perhaps maybe with that type of an inexpensive technology, using tools like Linkapedia, you can actually change the world and change the lives of lots of children out there. That would.
We're hoping to.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing issue with all the refugees in Europe right now, and where are they supposed to go? And there's not enough schools to house them. And if there was a way that we could align with them or some organization where we could start to give them tools to learn, I think they'd be better off.
Well, it's a very interesting thing when it comes to the education of children, because we have actually an online charter school here in Hawaii, and I don't remember the name of it, but we do have an online charter school here. It's actually doing very, very well. I think it's now the largest charter school of all the charter schools that we have here, and it's online. It's all online. And if you think about the freedom that gives a student to not have a geographical dependency, that they can go to school regardless of where they are physically.
Right.
I think this becomes one of the great equalizers, where your ability to study or acquire knowledge isn't based on where you were born. It's not based on where you live. It's based on your desire to learn. And simply having access to tools like this makes all that possible. I think that's fantastic.
Especially in areas where education is frowned upon, for women in general, and it gives them that endless opportunity where they've got, a tool like Linkapedia or access to a mobile device as just an ever-going surplus of information where they can continue to learn.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And so this is one of the challenges that you all have taken on.
Yes.
And I imagine it is inspiring when you come to work every day that you're working on a big problem and trying to figure out how do you integrate your tool. And the thing is that you're being very creative. You're learning how to integrate and develop strategic partnerships.
Correct.
That's something you're going to continue to work on, is developing more of these types of alliances.
Absolutely. We're looking at all sorts of opportunities, and our team is spread out throughout the world. Our development team's in Colombia. Our chief technology officer is in Pennsylvania. One of our designers is a student on the East Coast. And George kind of floats between Silicon Valley and Hawaii. And I'm based out of Honolulu too. But we're looking at all sorts of opportunities as they arise. Partnering with Merriam-Webster's kind of been a dream, and we have a really good relationship with Encyclopedia Britannica as well. And as we develop this campaign to support the education with some of the refugee children, we'll be looking for more opportunities like that in the future.
Well, I think that's great. Now, the thing is that as you do this, how do people get a hold of your organization? Like, what's the best way for maybe organizations that want to partner with you or talk about developing an alliance with you folks? What's the best way for those folks to reach you?
They can just email us at marketing@linkapedia.com.
Marketing at Linkapedia, that's pretty simple.
Yep, marketing@linkapedia.com. They can reach us through Twitter, through our Facebook page. We have a form on our website as well. So just reach out to us, and we're happy to talk to people that are interested in creating an easier way to search the web.
Because this is what makes Hawaii special, I think, is that we are creating a very interesting technology community here. And we're not really competitive, we're more collaborative. And I think you folks are one of those sort of diamonds in the rough here in Hawaii. We have quite a few.
Thank you.
We're doing amazing things here in Hawaii. And I think more and more people, as they see us doing and growing our technology space in Hawaii, I think there's going to be ever more enthusiasm and more support. I'd like to think that our politicians are now seeing that we are already reaping the benefits of the hard work and effort that we're putting into the technology space here in Hawaii. And never mind those naysayers. You know, there's naysayers who say, oh, you'll never, you know, Hawaii, you're too far away. You know, you're too far away from the money in Silicon Valley. But, you know, I think one of the things that is interesting is that we really aren't that far from Silicon Valley.
A lot of the people from Silicon Valley buy homes in Hawaii.
No, say that isn't so. Well, they're making money. They can afford to buy a property here.
Didn't a very, very wealthy person buy one of the islands entirely?
Yes. So there are lots of things that we're doing here to grow our technology space. Is there anything else that you'd like to share or talk about in terms of where other areas or other things that you're thinking about?
I think just getting support and having people dive in and use Linkapedia. We're still kind of a startup company, you know. There's a very, very small team, and the more feedback we can get on making the product better or the user experience, or, you know, if you see opportunities where a business that you know of or an educational opportunity might arise, please reach out to us, because we're very open and really interested in figuring out how to make this the best mobile search tool for everyone.
And as you said, right now, they have an Android app, but you can use it as a web-based as well,
Absolutely.
Right? So even if you have an iPhone, you can just go to linkapedia.com.
Correct.
Okay, and it's designed to work or optimized for mobile devices.
Yep, we have a responsive design site on mobile, and then you can use it regularly on a desktop as well.
Okay, all right. Well, I really want to thank you for coming on to the show today, Kate.
Thank you.
I know I'm really bad about getting hold of people at the last minute, because I have people that they want to come onto the show and then their schedules don't always permit it, and it was very nice to come on. I'm hoping to have one of our politicians on, or wannabes come on next week, since they wanted to shift the schedule. So I do appreciate you coming on this week.
Absolutely.
I'm Chris Lethem, and our guest today is Kate Yanov from Linkapedia. And I think it's been a pretty good show, and thanks for coming on again. And I'm Chris Lethem, and this is The Economy and You. Thanks for watching, folks.